A lot of soft tissue issues. What's going on? Lats and obliques and delts and adductors. Oh my! It's like Wizard of Oz. So we got to hit on some IL stuff. Also have a couple of rib fractures. One of which forced a guy that was struggling in AAA up to the big leagues, and we'll see how that top prospect does. Another top 100 prospect gets up with Toronto. A former top prospect goes down to Memphis, and then we've got hitters of the week and games of the weekend. It's all brought to you by BetMGM. Jack, Peter, Aram. This is the Just Baseball show for Friday, April 26th. Before we get into the whole thing, got to tell you about our friends at Game Time. We've all found ourselves in a situation somewhat similar to this, right? You see that there's an awesome pitching matchup or, battle of heavyweights. You got Peter's Dodgers coming to New York to see Aram's Yankees. And they want to drive or take the train, take the subway over to the ball game, but then you hit roadblocks in the ticket buying process. Let's fix that for you. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. You've got killer last minute deals, all in pricing, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Use Game Time for last minute deals. Save up to 60% off buying last minute. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code JUSTBASEBALL, all one word, all caps, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code JUSTBASEBALL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Is that fair? Arm, I saw you made a face when I said that a top prospect is struggling in Iowa right now. We'll get into him in a moment, but he was not doing well.
No, he was not. And I don't think he's doing well out of the gate today. So no, it's an interesting time for prospects. I think we're getting reminded across the sport that Major League Baseball is hard.
It's very, very hard. Peter, how are you, baby boy? What's going on?
I'm doing well. Can you guys clarify what prospect you were talking about? I was just listening to that conversation. I didn't even know who you guys were talking about.
Heat Crow Armstrong, but we'll get into him a little bit more in a matter of moments.
Perfect. I have a couple of things off the top. First, going back to the Game Time ad a little bit. I just used Game Time to get $70 seats in section 127 at Yankee Stadium. Why? Because Game Time always has the lowest prices. So make sure to use Game Time. That's in the episode description. We have a user submitted statistic that I was told to read to you guys, and I think Jack is going to appreciate this one. 2019 John Lester batting stats. He hit 188, 264.
Josh Lester.
Josh Lester.
No, John Lester.
The pitcher?
The
John
pitcher.
Lester never hit 188.
Here's 2019 John Lester's batting stats submitted by user Aaron Witt on Instagram. This is a graphic. You check it out. All you got to do is you check it out. This was submitted to me and wanted to be read to Jack McMullen. John Lester's 2019 batting stats.
He's right.
Damn right, Aaron is right. He's a listener to the Just Baseball show. He's smart as shit. John Lester's 2019 batting stats, slashing 188, 264, 292 slugging to give him a 556 OPS. Okay, the pitcher, John Lester. The 2024 Chicago White Sox batting stats, 192, 266, 290 for a 556 OPS. So the current Chicago White Sox have the same OPS as John Lester did, the pitcher, back in 2019.
So the reason that's funny is because you said John Lester, and I didn't believe you because John Lester is, as noted, one of the worst hitters to ever pick up a baseball bat. Mm-hmm. John Lester in his career hit a $115 with a 337 OPS in 423 plate appearances. Thank you for that. What's our user's name?
Aaron Witt. Aaron W1IT.
Oh, I see Aaron all the time. Great listener.
Aaron, can I tell you something? And it stays between us. I was smiling when Byron Buxton hit that homer on Tuesday. Like, I'm fully bought into this team going 3-159 now. And like, I hope it happens at this point. This is, and like, dude, I've heard AJ Pierzynski, who, honest to God, like, may get interviewed for the managerial opening if it opens at this point. Like, Ken Rosenthal asked him, would you manage the White Sox if this situation arose? And AJ was like, with the team is currently constructed? I don't know. Like it's such a bad product. It's such a dumpster fire on the field right now that I can't root for their success. It's so bad. It's gotten to a point where I was walking out of the ballpark with my broadcast partner, Howard Kelman, who's in year 48 as the voice of the Indianapolis Indians. And he said, maybe tonight's the night the White Sox turn it around. I said, I promise you it won't be. And they lose to the Twins. I've never promised a loss in baseball before and been right.
Hey, they had a lead today at one point.
Okay.
That's
Are they
awesome.
going to be 3-20? I think
Yes,
they will.
The best part about it is even if they go 3 and 159, they still pick 11th.
Yeah.
They can't fit
There's
in
a
the top
lottery
10.
now. Welcome to the CBA.
Yeah, which I love. I love that, by
yes.
the way, to incentivize that loser franchise to try and sign some other guys. But it's interesting that, so for those who may not know, like if you pick in the top 5, you can't do it consecutive. You can't pick in the top 10 consecutive years, I guess. And that's the anti-tanking new CBA that I actually like. But for the White Sox, they could probably use another top 10 pick.
I think so. Although that system, top 10 system in baseball,
it's getting there. I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So 2027, the window's going to start to open.
You know what? We're back. I take away everything that I just said. I rescind everything I just said. We're back.
My second thing off the top, Michael Tonkin, reliever. And I would tell you the team, but he switched teams about 7 different times. The mileage that this guy is getting on airplanes has got to be buku bucks. He's probably saving a ton of money on flights. So Michael Tonkin was just claimed by the Yankees today. But let me take you through the list of teams that he's already been on. And remember, we're recording on Thursday, April 25th. So on November 17th of last year, Michael Tonkin elects free agency. Then he signs with the Mets on December 6th, goes through spring training with them, but then on April 5th of this season, DFAs him. Then the Twins pick him up 4 days later. Then 4 days after that, the Twins DFA Michael Tonkin. Then on April 17th, the Mets claim him again, but he's already injured. So then they have to activate him on the 19th, makes one outing, DFA'd on the 22nd. Now on April 25th, he is now a New York Yankee. So he's already played for 4 teams this year. My question to you guys is, do we see a 5th? Because I don't know how long he lasts with the Yankees. I have no idea why they picked him up.
Probably
100%.
So, yeah, 100%. So there are a bunch of guys that kind of bounce around in the DFA process. Like Peyton Burdick is.
Yeah, I was about to pull up Burdick.
Around.
I was about to go through Burdick's. Burdick's is crazy.
Burdick is getting passed around. Diego Castillo this offseason got passed around like crazy. Stu Fairchild a couple years ago got hammered in the DFA process. And my advice to them is Michael Tonkin, you said what? Mets, Yankees, Twins, and who else?
He started with the Braves, signs with the Mets, goes to the Twins, then back to the Mets, then now on the Yankees.
Easier. So Yankees and Mets, JFK, no problem. Braves, Hartsfield Jackson, no problem. MSP, dude, all Delta hubs. I hope he's been on Delta flights every time because he's taking the family to Disney World this offseason. You have to look at the silver linings here.
The thing is, I felt bad for him because I'm 26 years old and flying sucks at my young age. So I'm thinking,
you really like the airport. You really like the airport.
I don't at all. I suck at the airport, even though I've flown about 75 times, left golf clubs, missed flights. Arm's the worst. Arm shows up to a flight like 10 minutes before, and he's like, oh.
I walk right in, and I bring a backpack, nothing else, so I can't forget anything, and I'm good to go.
Shout out Michael Tonkin.
Shout out Michael Tonkin. Shout out the left adductor of Blake Snell. It's a tough one. Blake Snell, Bryan Bello, JP Crawford, all on the IL. I think these all constitute as soft tissue injuries. Bello with lat tightness, Crawford with an oblique, Snell with an adductor. I want to go one by one. Let's start with JP Crawford, who hits the IL with an oblique issue. As if the Mariners were pressing for offensive production enough, they lose one of their anchors. That sucks. And it's time for J-Rod to stand on his head. It hasn't happened yet this year, but if there's ever a time to snap out of this funk that you've been in, Julio, it's right now.
Also doesn't help that Dominic Canzone is also on the IL. And Dylan Moore can slot in at shortstop and fill in for the Mariners for the time being. But we've been complaining about this Mariners offense from the start of the offseason to now. losing JP Crawford. I mean, he's the bell cow at the top of the lineup.
So J-Rod's been coming alive a little bit. I mean, last 10 games, 349, 378, 465. If you extrapolate it a little bit further, he's been doing better. It's been surprising to not see him slug as much, but starting to hit the ball a little bit harder. I'm with you though, Jack. Like he needs to go nuclear now. Like he needs to really carry this team. And Crawford was, if I'm not mistaken, was off to kind of a slow start as well. I wonder if some of that was kind of the injury bubbling up and then becoming what it was. But um, yeah, we were just, I mean, Peter and I were just the other day talking about, oh, can Brian Wu kind of be a shot in the butt, for them? And, Peter was like, yeah, well, is he going to help Ty France slug? And I was like, yeah, it's a good point.
Shout out Ty
So
France, though, did hit a home run today as we're recording.
there you go. So maybe he is helping him slug.
Maybe he is.
But that is the challenge is the offense. Like we know the pitching is going to be okay. So not having Crawford, man, like it definitely can be a tough blow. But baseball's so weird. Sometimes that happens, and then the offense ends up just like igniting. So who knows? But it is a little bit of a concern.
Just to quickly quantify what Arm was saying about JP Crawford's slow start, slashing 198. That's his batting average, 296, 302 slug to give him an 84 WRC plus.
Yeah.
He does have a couple of home runs. He's not really much of a base stealer, but he hasn't done that yet. He's not striking out. He's walking, but he's just really not putting bat to ball. And now he's hit the IL with the oblique. And I'm curious if, to Arm's point, that's a bit of a carryover, and this has been nagging him all season long because he hasn't looked like himself. I think there's one thing if a guy is just struggling, and then if another thing if he just doesn't look right. And I don't think JP Crawford has looked right kind of all season so far.
Especially with how good he was last year. Like this was a guy that looked, I mean, he just got better and better and better and he was a monster. So like it would just be so weird for him to just have the next year just fall on his face. I know it's early, could have just been slow out of the gate, but yeah, I wonder if it was something that he was kind of just dealing with, and hopefully he comes back and gets rolling after that. They need him.
So they grabbed the hot hand, and they would have needed to select one of Ryan Bliss or Leo Rivas to take Crawford's place. And they select Leo Rivas, who was the hotter hand. Leo Rivas was hitting about 310 in Tacoma. It was like an 880, 890 OPS. He is more of the true shortstop than Bliss is. Bliss, for the most part, has played second base, but he has played, I think, 7 or 8 games at short for the Rainiers already this year. This feels like if Bliss was hitting 270, it was his job. Like, it was the one. But Rivas is a guy that was good enough in AA last year, got up, started the year really well in Tacoma, and in a pinch, they went and got that guy. Ryan Bliss was part of that Seawald deal with Dominic Canzone. I know Arm and I both really like what Brian Bliss can do, but frankly, like he didn't start out well enough to get this call. Leo Rivas did start well enough to get this call, and I have no expectations for a guy like this set to make his major league debut, and he's not even really a pop-up prospect. He's a guy that is he on any like top 20, top 30 list? Probably not.
Not that I'm aware of. I also I think it's a defensively motivated decision there too. Bliss, just really, I don't think is regarded as a guy that could even plug in much at shortstop at the big league level. So, I mean, if they have Bliss up there, who's playing shortstop? Dylan Moore.
Yeah.
So I think, who I love, by the way, that's a guy that I will always, him and Brad Miller, no matter what their numbers are, I will always love those guys. I want them on my team. But Dylan Moore, I think it's a time for him to shine. He's probably going to get a lot of run at short, but yeah, I think it was mostly a defensive minded, move there. And they kind of figure, hey, like we're probably not going to get much offense from shortstop regardless. Might as well get a guy that can go pick it there. Bliss is stretched pretty thin. I did get some questions. I was wondering why people were asking me about Bliss. That makes sense now. Why didn't Bliss come up? Why didn't Bliss come up? I think it just doesn't make as much sense when he can't really plug in at short and give you what you need.
Makes sense. How about Brian Bello? I mean, these Red Sox, man, I feel so bad for the Boston Red Sox. Brian Bello now joins Tristan Casas, Nick Pivetta, Garrett Whitlock, Trevor Story, and Lucas Giolito on the IL, not to mention Liam Hendricks, who's recovering from TJ.
Vaughn Grissom as well.
Vaughn Grissom, he's knocking on the door of coming back. I wanted to kind of save him because he will be back, if not this weekend, early next week. I haven't seen like the most recent reports, but he's well into a rehab assignment. But man, Bello hitting the 15-day with lat tightness. I was reading the CBS kind of stream update, and I think it's Baseball Prospectus has like the average number of days missed with varying injuries. And for pitchers, a lat issue is typically 6 to 8 weeks,
Wow.
which sucks to hear. And it's tightness. I hope that there are a couple of sports massages that, like get him right, and maybe it's a 30-day stay. But man, like if they're missing their newly extended middle rotation, borderline frontline guy, that's another tough blow to a team that has really struggled to catch any fire offensively. Yes, they've gotten off to an excellent start pitching wise, but Bello is a big part of that. And you could say, well, Jack, he's not, he's not Whitlock. Well, Whitlock's on the IL too. He's not Houck, whatever. He's not Cutter Crawford, whatever. He had a 3 ERA. He was fourth among starting pitchers on that team in ERA when he went down. So he joins Whitlock and Pivetta on the IL as guys that got off to amazing starts, and now they're unavailable. Alex Cora, if he somehow keeps this team in contention, even if they don't make it, I mean, this is the recipe for a manager of the year push, if anything.
I agree with you. And I just don't know how many more Band-Aids they can put on this severe gash right now. I mean, we still have Tanner Houck, we still have Cutter Crawford, and both of those guys are off to excellent starts. Tanner Houck at a 1.65 ERA, Cutter Crawford at a 0.66. But then you have Cooper Criswell, who did put in a good 5-inning performance against the Guardians. But
I thought Criswell looked really good on Wednesday.
He did look good. And it's cool to see that, you bring in a new general manager who's built on pitching, and then you're starting to see guys that you might never even heard of, or guys that are in the back of the bullpen start to perform well. But it's, at the end of the day, how consistent are they going to be? What's Josh Winkowski looking like, over a multiple start stand? Like, it's one thing to have one good start, and it's another thing to put up consistently good starts in a row. What is Chase Anderson going to do? We saw him get blown up today. I just don't know if they can piece this together in time to stay competitive throughout this entire season.
So can I say real quick, Aram, I say that the Red Sox are channeling their 2010 to 2012 aura right now? Chase Anderson has the fighting necklace, but Cooper Criswell, while he was throwing, you probably didn't grow up with it because you were in South Florida. Hell, Peter, you might have not because you were in California, but Midwest Little Leaguers, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Middle East.
The heavy duty Under Armour that's like the mock collar that has the Under Armour logo. Never. But I owned like 10 of them when I was 10 because we would just start playing in April and May and it'd be snowing and you got to wear that. So the heavy duty Under Armour, he was wearing a black heavy duty Under Armour with a Boston Red Sox gray jersey. It looked so out of place, but I was like, you've got this, and then you've got Chase Anderson wearing a fighting. Like, I'm back in Little League right now, and I love it.
I want to back you guys. Oh, no, go ahead, Arm.
No, the one thing I wanted to say was, it's been amazing to see what the staff's been able to do, but to Peter's point about like, how much can they, plug these gaps or, put a Band-Aid on the gash. Also, like, I'm buying, we've talked about it, I'm buying what Houck and Cutter Crawford are doing from the lens that, hey, these guys have figured something out. They're better, but they're not going to pitch to a combined like 1.3 ERA.
Yeah.
So like when these guys have normal starts, and maybe come back to earth a little bit, then it's going to, I think they're going to feel it even more. So I think there's even more pressure on Houck and Crawford to pitch like the best pitchers in the American League, like they have been so far. But like, that is tough. We're also talking about a team that has like Bobby Dalbec up there now again. And like, that's brutal. I wonder how many injuries we are away from Dalbec back at short. So like, I feel for Red Sox fans because this is a team that when we saw what they were doing out of the gate and they started to look at that, we all took, I think all three of us took their over win total, and then they were even better than we thought out of the gate. Like, man, I was starting to believe, and I hope that they can get healthy enough to where they can tread water. They're not dead or anything. I mean, they're 14-11. They've got time, but some of these guys are not going to be coming back anytime soon. So I do feel for Red Sox fans because it's been a tough couple of years and it seemed like they were finally starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel this year.
A question that I don't really know the answer to that I more just want to ask you guys. Let's say the Red Sox are moderately competitive at the deadline. Let's say they're a few games over 500. Do you see them buying or selling? I don't know. I mean, I could hear the argument for both, and I don't have an opinion. Do either of you guys?
I guess the question would be, what are you selling?
Yeah.
Like, Tyler O'Neill will be a free agent, but you can, if he's playing the way he's playing, you could give him a QO. If he takes the QO, sure, I'm fine with Tyler O'Neill playing it at all-star level on whatever the QO number is, 17 million on 1 year, or he declines it, you get the draft pick back, you weren't going to get that much more than that in a trade package anyways. Pitching wise, I mean, I don't, you're not
You have
moving any.
nothing left. I'm not selling
So
anything.
yeah, Kenley, like Chris Martin.
Sure.
I guess those are the guys you could theoretically move, but at that point, is
Chris Martin's a beast. I mean,
he
he would
is
get a
good.
package.
That,
Yeah.
that could be a guy that gets you something. I think at that point you almost just ride it out. I would say, if they're within 5 games of a playoff spot, they'll probably just ride it out. They barely really even sold last year. They should have traded James Paxton. They didn't. I know that was a different GM, but I'd imagine they stand pat. But it is a good question. They're definitely not adding though. I don't see them adding.
Yeah, I don't see them, but I guess if their pitchers come back healthy and they're in the race, not to say that they'd make the Max Scherzer and Trey Turner deal that the Nationals and Dodgers made a few years ago, but would we see more guys on their team or less, right? Adding versus big adding, I don't know. Maybe they just plug in holes and say, we think that we can make a wild card if all the guys come back and they're able to plug these holes for now. Because it's not impossible to think that Criswell or Winkowski or any of these guys, if the offense comes to play, that they can stay competitive. It's an interesting conversation. I don't know what's going to happen.
So can I throw you one more name? And it never happens. Like baseball, we don't see guys demand trades, and it's granted. But there's something really weird happening with the lineup construction in Boston right now. Masataka Yoshida is just not playing anymore. And I don't understand why he's not playing. The reasoning on, I think, Thursday was Rafi Devers is not healthy enough to play third, so he had to DH, whatever. But Yoshida, if I saw this right, has played 3 games since April 15th. Tyler Milliken, 4 games since April 15th. It's April 25th. He's been healthy. I don't know what's going on here. So I'd be curious to see if they view that almost as like a fractured relationship because Alex Cora doesn't see a place for him to be in the lineup nearly every day. Yoshida could get them something serious at the deadline. Like I just, you never see something like that, but I don't know. This feels very weird, and I don't entirely understand why he's not playing.
I think we had a similar reaction. I don't think Yoshida would get them much. I mean, what are you going to
That's the
pay?
problem.
$90 million for a DH?
That's the
Who's
problem.
not hitting?
That's the problem, is the money. The money might be the issue there. So he would have what? How many more years on the deal? 3 more after this one at around 18 million a year. Might be tough. It's interesting though, because like he can swing it, and I'm wondering why he's not playing more. And like, I mean, with Casas out, shouldn't he be getting plenty of runway now? Like
I would think so.
That's what I'm curious about. And I think he will. I'm pretty sure the last few, no, but even then he hasn't played what, since the 20th? Is that right?
I think that's right.
There's got to be something going on there. No?
Dude, like nobody's answering for it. It's bizarre. I'm trying to be as tapped into Red Sox Twitter as I can be to like see what the hell's going on with Masataka Yoshida, because I think he's healthy. He's just not playing.
So O'Neill came back off the IL. They wanted him to DH for 2 days. That gives you the 25th and the 24th. That makes a little bit of sense. But then, I don't get it. So Devers, came back. He DH'd for 2 days. The first day that O'Neill came back, he DH'd. But when you put Devers back at third, who's going to take the DH spot? There makes no sense to me. So if he's not DHing this weekend, I'm going to be really confused. I think that's going to be a time where we start to see maybe reporters press a little bit more on that, because it doesn't make any sense.
What if we were one of the reporters in the room and we go, Alex Cora, what's the reasoning behind Masataka Yoshida not playing so much? And he just goes, he's ass. And then leaves it
Is
at
he
that.
ass though?
No, I don't think he is.
he's
But
ass.
I just don't. I guess if it's not a good matchup for him at the plate, why play him? I guess. I don't think any of us know. That would be the only thing that makes sense.
He just doesn't like him.
Specific. No, not doesn't like him. Just specific matchups where it's like, if we can plug this guy in at DH, he's a better matchup anyway, and we're not putting Yoshida in the field. That would be my only guess.
Like through his first 60 games last year, the dude had an OPS of like 835. And if you keep extending it through his first 70 games, he had an OPS of 836. Like he was good for most of the season, then just hit a crazy slump. I can keep going. First 100 games of the year last year, he had an 840 OPS. I know that he finished really slow and ended up like hitting a wall at the end, but it just feels weird. Like this was a guy that was one of your better hitters last year for a lot of the season, and I understand he stinks defensively, but with where they're at, I imagine now is the time where he's
Yeah.
going to get some runway. If he doesn't, there's definitely something going on there.
Something weird. So I've got no idea what's going on. Blake Snell, I think everybody kind of has an inkling of what's going on. He wasn't properly built up, and Snell hit the IL with a left adductor strain. The adductor, I looked at the musculoskeletal system, is somewhere around the thigh groin area.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, oh, you have adductor issues.
Oh yeah.
What's up? What's up,
Yeah.
Mr. Adductor? Tell us about it.
Well, when you have a hip issue, usually the adductor takes over.
Okay.
So after I got my hip surgery, my adductor's just been giving me hell. I went for a nice walk yesterday, stretched that specifically out for a while.
Nice.
It sucks. Absolutely sucks. I can't imagine from like a pitcher's perspective because it's basically like a lot of people would mistake that for like a groin injury. It's like pretty much in the same area. And if you're trying to push off a mound and land and whatever, like that's brutal. That said, the adductor was the first thing to flare up when I had and this is just speculation, again, not a doctor, when I had my hip surgery, because when it goes from stagnant to now you're working out, they said, oh yeah, it's really common that the adductor doesn't respond from like 0 to, built up right away. Ironic that that's kind of what we're seeing Blake Snell deal with. He didn't go from 0, but he went from not pitching to pitching. And that's a part of your body that it generally, I guess, does not react well to like the weekend warrior syndrome. So wouldn't be surprising.
So can I say Peter is almost always the one to try and loosely compare himself to other major league
I'll only do
baseball
it via
players?
injury. I will only do it via injury.
You're
I'm Mr.
only-
Potato Head. It helps me understand what's going on.
Well, the thing is, I only do it when I compare myself athletically to some of these professional athletes. They're usually slightly more athletic, but I'm in the same ballpark, so it makes sense for me. I
Right.
can't speak for Arm. I can only speak for myself.
Right. When was the last time you threw a 60 pitch bullpen, Peter?
2015.
Nice. Okay.
Almost
Cool. So
run
we're
it
going
on
on
10
9
years.
years.
Yeah, almost
Yeah.
run it a
See,
decade.
Are we
I'm-
going to celebrate a decade? Are we going to get a cake for it?
I have thrown a couple of really good wiffle ball innings. There was no scouts there, but I'm just saying, for all those who were there in the park, they saw something great.
Noted.
I'm tweaking stuff way more frequently. I'm getting MRIs way more frequently. So like I'm still tapped in on that. I'm like, for a guy that does nothing physically, like I got a lot of ailments. So that's how I learned so much about the shoulder stuff.
Nice.
I'd go there, and by the time I got my shoulder surgery, the doctor, go to the office. They've got the memorabilia of all the people that they've like operated on, all the players.
Yeah.
And it was like right around the time that injuries were really starting to uptick. I kind of use it as an opportunity to just pick the doctor's brain, not on myself, but I was like, what do you think about all these pitcher injuries and whatever? He's like going over the MRI, and I'm like, and like, what about thoracic outlet syndrome? Like, it seems like that really ends up being I ended up like getting all of this really good information. I was like taking notes on my phone, and it was really beneficial for me. My shoulder's still fucked, but it was a good learning experience. So
like you're
yeah, I
trying to
learned a
build
lot
back
through
up.
that.
I just think it's hilarious that Arb keeps having flare-ups when 12 hours of his day is spent writing about prospects. Like,
I
how
think
are you
that's part of the
getting?
problem.
Yeah,
I think
carpal
it's part of the
tunnel.
I don't do anything. I don't move. I type. I watch video. I go to games, and then I try to do one fucking thing, and my body's like, "You haven't moved, you moron," and it breaks.
Yep.
Break.
Weekend warrior syndrome. I like
Yes.
that a lot. And like,
That's me.
it's not weekend warrior syndrome with Snell, but like, hey, it's the closest we get to professional athletics. Blake Snell, like I tried to remember the exact timeline, and MLB Trade Rumors, Steve Adams and Darren McDonald actually did a pretty good job of kind of walking us through a loose timeline very quickly. Here's what they got. He wasn't able to get into any official spring training games, instead pitching in some sim games before quickly making his debut for the Giants on April 8th. He's shown clear signs of rust so far. 3 starts resulting in 11 2/3 innings with 15 earned runs. Not throwing in spring training games and like not building up on a rehab, that was a recipe for disaster. And I know that they were kind of closely monitoring his pitch count, but at the end of the day, like, he went from 0 spring training to full speed MLB in game. That's really hard to do. And with a guy that is operating at max effort like Snell, sometimes to a fault where he doesn't know where the balls are going, like, you're fucked. And this was a situation from hell for Blake Snell. And I feel for him. And I don't I don't want to like pile on Boris here. It's like, oh, this is a total indictment on Scott Boris. Loosely it is. It totally is. And I don't want him to like get out of this scot-free. But it was
Got
just
free. That was good.
thanks, man. But it was just a position that Snell was set up to fail in. And I feel really bad for Snell.
That's why it's so impressive what Jordan Montgomery is doing. Same position as Snell, but he's thrown to 13 innings at a 2.08 ERA.
We knew that was. That's why I don't get why he didn't get the long-term deal. That's the
Could've
one
gotten
guy.
a 4-year
I
deal,
get the
5-year
Snell
deal.
thing. I get it. Like Peter, you said it. Like he's right out of the gate. He looks good. That was the safest deal. I would have given him 5 years and not thought twice about it. Let alone
100%.
like 4, 3. How is that guy on a 1-1? How?
idea.
And I think that's why he was the one that ended up
Canning him.
firing Morris, right? Yeah, because he's probably the one guy's like, dude, I'm as safe and easy as they come.
Yeah.
He's right out of the gate, looks good. He's just Mr. Consistency. Crazy to me. But yeah, it does make it even more impressive to your point, Peter, and even more of a reason why he's a no-brainer long-term investment. Guy just goes out there. You always talk about guys just showing up to the ballpark and hitting. He shows up to the ballpark and pitches every single time. Quality start, it feels like, every single time.
Isn't it funny that the one Boris client that fired him is doing the best? I think that's funny. That makes me happy because I'm an anti-Scott Boris guy. That just makes me smile.
I do think like it's gotten so to the point where like people are probably a little unfair to Boris because of like how like Blake. I don't envy I understand he's a multi-Cy Young winner, but it's really hard to. I almost would rather not deal with that because he's like, oh, he's won 2 Cy Youngs. You got to get him a bag. But everybody knows that he's a scary investment. So like, I don't envy that position at all. But it's interesting, like this being willing to delay the start of the season for your veteran guys. I hope that Boris starts to realize that while it's okay to say, in posture and be willing to do that, I think he's starting to realize that it might not be worth it, man. Look at JD Martinez. He is really struggling to ramp up, and that's a guy that I'm sure just wants to be out there. I don't think he's, dragging it out longer than he wants to. His body doesn't feel good. These guys are so habitual. I was talking to Jeff Conine about it when I was at spring training, and I was looking around. I'm like, oh my gosh, this weather's so nice. It's like, you must love being out here. It's like, yeah, it was nice for the first week as a player, but when you're in year 10, 11, 12, you just want, you go through the motions. Like your build up, it becomes second nature. And by the end of spring training, you feel like your body's ready and you're good to go. But the reason why I'm mentioning that is it's such a routine for them. He's like, it feels like the first day of school, like everything's almost autopilot. You know what you need to do, you do it. And then you must feel like a fish out of water the 1 year you're not doing it. So I think that really is disruptive for a veteran. Yeah, maybe if you're 22 years old, you can be a little bit more adjustable and adaptable. But like these guys' bodies and everything, they're used to that ramp up. And, I don't think it's a coincidence that JD's struggling to get back now. Snell has had this issue. And I just don't think it's going to be a strategy that's going to work well for players if it continues.
Luckily for the Giants, Keaton Winn has slid in and solidified a role in this rotation, a guy who they weren't sure was going to be the definite 5 starter in this rotation. Jordan Hicks is still pitching well. Logan Webb just continues to dominate start after start. So they can weather the load now. That's the difference between them and the Red Sox. Go ahead, Jack.
No, guess who's back opening games now?
Ryan Walker.
Our guy.
He's great. We love Ryan Walker. So if they can have a bullpen game opened by Ryan Walker with then those 4 guys and Alex Cobb, I was reading up on him. I was trying to find some updates. The last I found was on April 5th, where he was ramping up, but actually had to take a step back due to an elbow thing. He's rehabbing his hip. He had hip surgery over the offseason, or I think it was at the tail end of last year. So I think his projection was the middle of May. But that was a projection from April 5th after he had a setback with his elbow. So I don't know when he's going to come back, but at least now the Giants can weather the load in the rotation for the time being.
So the corresponding move was Landon Roop comes up, and that's a guy that I know Aram knows a bit more on, and he's going to function as a reliever. But Aram, who is the right answer? He's starting in Sacramento right now.
Mason Black?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, get that guy up. I think he'll translate too. I'm surprised they haven't had him up yet. He's been throwing great. They have more options, which is nice. The Giants haven't had as many options in recent years. Mason Black can get up there and help them right away. He's filling up the zone, multiple fastballs, good breaking ball. He's just funky. I think he's the next guy up, but for whatever reason, they're a little bit more careful with him.
They went with Landon Root for like extended bullpen innings.
I guess they want him to just to truly start if he's going to come up Mason Black.
They're probably like, is Mason Black better than a Ryan Walker opener? No,
Probably not. Nobody's better than a Ryan Walker.
Is Logan Webb better than a Ryan Walker opener?
No.
Probably not.
No.
I don't think so.
Another Boris client gets hurt, and this one, it's not Scott Portis' fault. Cody Bellinger is the second masher in the last week to go down with a rib fracture. Him and Tristan Casas. I did not see a quote from Bellinger saying that he was in a lot of pain, but I assume, much like Casas, Cody Bellinger was in a lot of pain. The corresponding move was Pete Crow Armstrong getting recalled. PCA is still looking for his first major league hit. PCA was 0 for 14 with 7 Ks in his first stint in the big leagues last year. In 19 games with the Iowa Cubs this year, PCA, yes, had 7 extra base hits, but that was really all he was doing. PCA hit 203 with a 633 OPS. He walked 3 times and punched out 24 times. It was not a good start to the season for Pete Crow Armstrong at all, but they were shoved into a situation where PCA made the most sense to get up. And man, like, we'll see. Trial by fire.
As you just said that, he went deep.
Oh, shout out PCA, man.
Off Bryan Abreu.
No. Is he's reign over?
Are the Cubs winning right now, Arm?
Yeah, it's 3-1.
Dude, the Astros are such a disaster. This is crazy.
Yeah. So Verlander first start off of rehab, 4 1/3, 3 hits, no runs, 4 walks, 7 Ks. You take that, honestly. That's pretty good.
That was second start. He threw well in Washington.
Sorry, second start. Correct. Thank you. And then Montero comes in 2 runs immediately. Then Abreu comes in, home run. If this Astros bullpen is collectively folding, they're fucked. It's a wrap. But yeah, so I'm happy for PCA. But to your point, like to circle back to it, I liked the swing adjustments that he made, and I was really excited about it. And then you see him in the box, man, and he just cannot stop the aggressive and just relentless approach that you just don't want to see from a guy like him. Like, he's never going to be a bat to ball guy. So, and he has good power and he elevates as much as anybody. He had one of the lower ground ball rates in all of minor league baseball. Stop chasing at a 45% clip. I know it's easier said than done. Like, I'm not trying to say like, oh, like just swing less, like, or like, why'd you swing at that? That's my biggest pet peeve in the world. But I do think that once you exceed like the 45%, once you exceed the 40 to 45% range, like of chase rate, I do think that that's a mentality thing at that point. Like, there's guys that are going to be a little bit expansive because they struggle with pitch rec and it's just who they are. And I get it. But like this guy, especially with sliders and changeups, like secondary pitches, he's chasing at a 50% clip. Like, that's what Javi Baez does. Like, that is an approach thing that is frustrating because he hits the ball hard. He hits the ball in the air. He can be a home run guy. I don't care if he hits 230. If he was walking, he's going to be one of the best defenders in the sport in the outfield. He can steal bags. He's electrifying, and he's going to run into enough home runs. The approach, I think, is what's really killing him. And I don't know why that hasn't changed yet. And in the big leagues, it's only going to get worse. Like, if you're chasing 44% of the time in AAA, they we have people, we're looking at Baseball Savant now in AAA. You got AAA data on Baseball Savant. Some MLB teams, they're going to see that chase rate in AAA and say, oh, this will be easy. And that's why Verlander, his first couple at bats, just made him look uncomfortable and made him chase like crazy. Abreu probably just thought he could blow one by him, and he clipped one. And that's the thing, is like, he can clip them. Yeah. Stop giving away, ABs. That's the frustrating thing for me.
So Pete Crow Armstrong is the best defender in the minor leagues. He was in center field, best defender in the minor leagues. But Aram, your online friend and mine, and in I think a lot of other people at Just Baseball, Greg Huss, tweeted out a video of PCA in St. Paul a couple weeks ago, and I saw it making the rounds when they were called PCA. He plays the game at full speed. I love it. He plays the game at 100 miles an hour. But if you haven't seen this video of him in St. Paul, it's a homer that clears the wall by like 10, 15 feet in left center. PCA dead sprint barrels into the wall like chain link. Like I would be going to the hospital on a stretcher in an ambulance if I went into the wall as hard as he did. And so like I saw a quote tweet of it. It's like, if this guy does this into the brick wall with the IV, he might die on the field.
Isn't that how Bellinger hurt his ribs?
I think so. He PCA plays the game, I'm telling you, at full speed. Sometimes it's full speed to a fault. And if you haven't seen this video, go watch it and be like,
Oh my God.
how are you that stupid?
Here,
Because
I know we're making fun of him, but to his credit, I would way rather a guy on my team play 100% full
Mhm.
speed, run into walls, whatever, instead of just jogging, at an infield hit where he could have made it. I would
For sure.
rather stick a
100%.
fork in my eyes than watch that over a guy just going 100% full speed all the time. And if he makes some funny things, yeah, whatever. It's easy to make fun of, but at the same time, I want that guy on my team.
Now
no doubt.
counterpoint, be careful.
Yeah,
Yes.
just be careful.
No-
Stop
no
chasing
doubt.
and don't run into walls, and you'll be a great player.
I think it is a microcosm of just like what's holding him back to a degree, though, because it's like not in the field. I want that, like go crazy. But I think he's the same way in the box. It's just like it's like almost like he's pounded. Like yeah, I'm thinking like Dan Campbell with his like 3 like venti coffees with a bunch of shots. Like it's like he's like, oh my God, I need to hit. Like it feels like he's just it's not pressing because that's just how he plays. But like I think he just needs to slow it down a little bit, and just lean into the hitter that he is. Because I mean, if he's a 100 WRC plus guy, he could be a 4-win player. Like, that's how good his defense and his speed is, and I, that's the frustrating part with it. So, I mean, hopefully seeing that ball go over the wall. So his first big league hit was a home run.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I can't wait to see the picture of the fan giving it. You know, a Cubs fan's going to give it to him.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to do something super cool and funny and like have a really like hilarious exchange. He's one of the funniest people I've ever had on the call up, by the way. He is one of one human in the best way possible.
But Arm, that point you brought up about him being just a 100 WRC plus guy, and then he's going to rack up the WAR totals because his defense is so great. Like carve out a career like Kevin Kiermaier. Like Kevin Kiermaier in 2015 had a 97 WRC plus with a 4.3 F WAR. 10 bombs, 18 steals. He did that in like 3 straight years. Average hitter, putting up 3 to 4 F WAR, and he's done that multiple times. And Kevin Kiermaier has pulled out a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a decade plus career. So if he could just do that, we're looking at a very solid player for a very long time.
Absolutely.
Didn't the Jays pay him $9 million last year?
Yeah.
Like clearly on the way down in his career. Like they paid him $9 million. PCA is going to make a lot of money, and he's a better hitter than Kevin Kiermaier is.
There you go.
Yeah. One guy up, one guy down before we get to our outlier segment and games of the weekend. Addison Barger for the Blue Jays, up. Jordan Walker for the Cardinals, down. I want to start with Barger going up. Addison Barger went 0 for 4 with a punch-out in his Major League debut. That happened in Kansas City on Wednesday. I saw a fun quote from him that he was running on adrenaline and caffeine, might have gotten 20 minutes of sleep because he was told around midnight. Addison Barger, 19 games with Buffalo this year. Hit .314, drove in 21 in 19 games. 10 doubles is second in minor league baseball, 3 homers, 14 walks, 15 Ks. Addison Barger is a guy that Aram and I have not necessarily argued on, but Aram was like seeing more than I was, I guess. And then he would send me clip after clip after clip. And I listened to thunder off the barrel. And I was like, okay, he just hits the ball too hard to be ignored.
He's fun. He had, I think, one of the last games in AAA before he got called up, had one of the craziest swings I've seen in a long time. It was like a fastball. I actually measured it. Like I was able to go zone it and then get the exact, it was 6 inches inside.
Oh.
And not only did he hit it, he kept it fair and launched it for a home run. This guy takes some of the most insane hacks you're ever going to see. It's like as if he does not rip the cover off the ball that like he will be like hurt. It's like someone is threatening him if he doesn't hit it 500 feet. But the crazy thing is he swings that hard and it's somehow under control. He posts above average contact rates. He came up as a shortstop. They moved him to third and second base. And then now he can still play a good third. Then they put him in the outfield. 70 arm, by the way, absolute howitzer out there. And then, I mean, when he connects, it's as aesthetically pleasing as they come. I think this is a legitimately good piece for them. We'll see how he adjusts up there, but I'm a big fan of Barger, and think we were one of the only ones that had him, maybe the only ones that had him on our top 100 list coming into the year.
I think so.
And I mean, dude, he hits the crap out of the ball. So could be a nice little spark plug for the Blue Jays. And he's a lot of fun to watch.
I don't want to be like a super negative guy. I just have a question for you guys, right? Arm, you talked about him playing mostly in the infield, right? Shortstop, third base, second base. He played left field, and he made a horrific play in the outfield, a play that had a 95% catch probability per StatCast. And he like ran in, did like a backwards freaking motion, and then it just went straight over his head. Like he looked like he had never played outfield before.
He's smoking that Kyle Schwarber pack.
My question is, first of all, why is he in the outfield? Because I'm watching Kevin Biggio play second base. I mean, I'm sure we could move Kevin Biggio to other parts if we want Addison Barger to be a main piece for a long time in their infield. Like, why are we in left? Why?
Well,
my only question.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I've talked to guys and they say like the read from left and right can be different and like can be like weird for them, to get used to, especially center to a corner. But left and right can even be different. And the bizarre thing is, I thought he settled in and actually looks pretty good in right. And if you go back and try to find the last time he played left field, I can't find it. So this year, so far, it was third base, and he played third base in 3 consecutive games before he got called up, and then they threw him into left. But it was third base, right field, third base, right field, third base, right field. He has not played left field. I'm scrolling. I'm continuing to scroll. Okay, last time he played left field was a spring training game in March of 2023. So why would you throw him into left field in his major league debut?
That's my question. I have no idea. Like, what's going on?
No clue. Also, he has a 70 arm. Put him in right. So yeah, that is weird. I'm not going to pretend like he's some great defender, but I watched him have good reads and right and look relatively comfortable. It's weird. They got a lot of shit to figure out. And a lot of it, I think, is they're handcuffed by the fact that they're paying IKF for 2 years. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like they should be just going with the best pieces in the infield. I would love to see a platoon of Schneider and Barger in the infield / outfield. I think that could be a really powerful and fun platoon.
Sometimes I feel like we just got to get IKF at bats, though. Maybe
he needs ABs.
He's making too much money to sit on the bench for sure.
Well, who gave him that money? Who else was giving him $15 million over 2 years?
No, they were in a bidding war with the White Sox, I heard. I'm kidding. I didn't hear.
I think the Marlins were in, but there's no way they went over 10.
White Sox, Marlins, Blue Jays, and the Jays got nervous.
we need them.
They panicked when Ohtani wasn't on that plane, so they're like, "Let's get the next best option." IKF does everything.
They saw what Oakland gave to Aledmus Diaz, and they were like, "We can do better."
Speaking of Oakland, let's recreate Shohei Ohtani in the aggregate. Let's get IKF. He can play catcher, right? He can play a bunch of different positions, and then we're gonna go get Yariel Rodriguez.
Easy.
You got to form something there. Yariel Rodriguez didn't have a great outing against the Royals, which I was kind of disappointed about. I've been loving what I've seen from him, but
yeah, he looked awesome
against teams that hit the ball hard. He's gonna have a tough time. That's his main crutch, is the hard hit rate. But he's got strikeout stuff. He's got a good fastball, good slider. He's exciting.
One guy going down is Jordan Walker. Jordan Walker was optioned to Memphis. He was optioned around this time last year. It might have happened a week later than this. It was his rookie year. This is different. 117 games last year. He had a 790 OPS, a 787 OPS. So, like, I think last year, the WAR numbers are not going to look good because he was a very bad defender and right. Like, okay, makes a bunch of sense. But I think, especially with the swing changes that Aram highlighted in an article on justbaseball.com, like, it was a net positive for Jordan Walker. And we were expecting a huge breakout for Walker and Wynn. Like, I was sold on that. Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn, they were going to be the guys. Mason Wynn has looked really good. He's looking the part at short for St. Louis. But Jordan Walker gets optioned after hitting a .155, slugging .259 with no homers in his first 20 games. So, Aram, I ask you, what's happening?
Can I add on to that? Can I add on to that?
Go ahead.
Why doesn't he hit the ball hard? Like, a very simple question. Like, what the hell is going on? This is supposed to be a guy who's like a Judge adjacent type power hitter. And ever since he's come up, that's been my biggest disappointment with him. Like, yeah, he's gotten hosed on a couple of long fly balls this year, but he just doesn't hit the ball hard. Or at least he hasn't yet.
Average EV was 91.7, which is good.
Yeah, but he's got a 40% hard hit rate. Like,
That's solid.
I think
but like
I
this is a
think
Judge adjacent guy. Like, yes, it's solid for any big leaguer, but this is Jordan Walker, one of the best power prospects that we've seen in the last half decade.
what was Aaron Judge doing when he was 21?
I think
Was
he was at
he a
I think he was at
junior at
Fresno
Fresno
State.
State?
Yeah, he was at
Yeah.
Fresno State.
Swinging like a moron.
Yeah.
No, but it is fair. Like,
Great point though. That actually is a very important point. We're joking about it, but Jordan Walker is still so young.
He
he's
could
not
be a
even 22
junior at
yet.
LSU right now.
Yeah, I love that one.
So, but it is a valid point, and it's part of the reason why I think you sent down is like he's not getting into that power because it just seems like he's being taken out of his swing again so easily. And you want to get your A swing off because guys like Jordan Walker, Aaron Judge. I was joking the other day with like Aaron Judge hits home runs by accident, right? Like his B swing is his body's still in such a good spot that he shoots it over the right field porch, no problem. And that's what Jordan Walker should be doing. But anytime that he's a little bit fooled, he totally spins off of it and he totally loses his body and the bat completely drags. I wrote 2 swing adjustment pieces last year on guys that I loved the changes that I had seen, and I was really excited about what that could mean going into this coming season and the end of last year. It was Jordan Walker, CJ Abrams. Abrams has maintained it and looks great.
Abrams
Jordan
is the
Walker,
best power hitter in Major League Baseball.
he's
A
the
few
best.
days ago, he was the leader in ISO, isolated power.
That's
The
crazy.
leader in Major League Baseball.
And the whole angle I put in that was how he tapped into more power. With Walker, it was, okay, how is he making more contact? What are the changes that he made? And again, now watching the video this year, it seems like he's kind of regressed back to a lot of the same issues that he had last year. And I don't really know how that's happened. It is really bizarre because you see what he did at the end of last year. He really settled in and coming back and making those tangible adjustments. I mean, over his last 50 games, he had an OPS over 820. The strikeout rate was at 22%, and he was walking at a 10% clip. Was better and better as the year went on. Over his final 30 games, he had an OPS over 930. You don't do that by accident in the big leagues as a 20, 21-year-old. And you have a 50-game sample of good and a 30-game sample of great. So, and a tangible change. I think a little bit of it is the Cardinals, and I think we need to start looking at the freaking Cardinals because how many outfielders are going to go up and down, give us flashes? Oh, he's talented. What is it going to look like? And they go elsewhere and they figure it out. And the fact that your solution is, oh, we got a good hitting coach in Memphis. Let's send him over there. That's fucking AAA. What's going on at the big league level? Like, why do you not have guys at the big league level that can get your guys right? Dylan Carlson has never improved. And maybe that's a little bit of a Carlson thing, but how many times do we need to look at it? Lars Nootbaar, I've been told, is going to break out 45 times, over the last.
But it's been me telling you that every other week, and I never see anything from him. And now I look like an idiot because all I do is talk about how high I am on Lars Nootbaar, and he plays like 3 times a week and doesn't really hit. I look like an idiot right now.
Nolan Gorman changes his swing every month, and I know he had a really good year last year. Struggles this year, new setup. Like, I just don't understand what's going on there. And the fact that their solution is always send him to AAA. Ivan Herrera figured it out finally. Mm-hmm. And that was they barely ever gave any run. The only reason Ivan Herrera figured it out, I think, is because they wouldn't keep him in the big leagues. They kept him stashed in Memphis. I guess it's a better place to hit there. Better staff over there, right? I don't get it. I don't. Tyler O'Neill, even veterans now, right? Like guys that lost it and can't find it again, goes over to Boston. Looks like he found it again. I think we need to start looking. I don't like using anecdotal things. And if I'm not in there, I'm not in the clubhouse. I don't know the dynamics. Right. It's a little speculative. But at a certain point, we've had a lot of the same guys, especially the front office, in this Cardinals organization. And we've had a lot of the same trends continue here in this organization. And at a certain point, I think you need to you look in the mirror and say, this might be an us problem. Because I know Jordan Walker has his issues and there's things that need to be cleaned up, but he had it. He lost it. You don't have the people there to help him get it back again. He's young. You pushed him quickly. I just feel like you got to look at the big league situation now and say, why aren't we able to get our guys right? That's a big part of it. Baseball is a streaky sport. It's really easy to lose it. And it just seems like the Cardinals do not help their guys get back to where they need to be or get where they need to be.
So a couple of tweets that I want to read you guys real quick about this matter exactly. Robert Orr, who writes at Baseball Prospectus, said he quote tweeted Katie Woo's, news tweet that said Walker was being optioned. He said, "It's very wild to watch the next Adolis or Randy happen in real time." And I hope they figure it out. But man, like that should give Cardinal fans nightmares to
Wait a
think
minute.
about this right now.
Katie said that?
No. Robert Orr, who writes.
That would be
Okay,
savage.
I was like,
that would be
was
crazy.
savage from Katie.
Crazy. That would be crazy.
She does an amazing job for the Athletic
She
covering
does
the
such
Cardinals. I thought you said that. I was like, holy
No.
shit,
She
does
did
She's
not
on
say
a
that.
rope. She's fed up. She's done.
Because like Ollie Marble would go, Mosaic, Johnny, please fire this woman who's being mean to me. God, I hate them. No, I don't. That's too far. They just annoy the shit out of me because I'm disappointed every single day.
Quote tweet of Katie's tweet saying that Walker was optioned. That was from Robert Orr. And then this from Rasball. Cardinals turned Adolis Garcia, Randy Arozarena, Tyler O'Neill, Lane Thomas into Donovan, Nootbaar, Burleson, Siani, Carlson. The problem, as they say in horror films, is coming from inside the house. Yeah, I'd say so.
Bar.
That's a pretty good bar from Rasball.
I want Cardinals fans on YouTube, let us know what you think is the problem, because a lot of our listeners are so tapped into their front offices, tapped into the trends that are going across their own teams. Let us know in the YouTube comment section. I would say on audio for all of you on listening, but there is no comment section. But on YouTube, let us know what you guys think is the problem here, because it's clear, right? We don't know what it is, but I think everybody can admit that there is an issue here.
If you're on audio, just DM Peter.
Yeah, just
DM Peter what you think the issue is, and we're good.
It's been awesome, actually. I'm getting a ton of DMs from followers of the show and stuff, just asking questions. I'm sure you guys are too. It's amazing. But again, Jack was like sort of kidding, but our DMs are fully open for anybody who wants to talk shop. You can find those in the episode description.
How about Marcell Ozuna? Aside from the fact that they traded, they traded Zach Gallen and Sandy Alcantara for him.
Yeah.
This was a guy that was pretty lost with them. Then in 2020, it was like one of the best hitters in the sport when he leaves them. So 2 years with the Cardinals, he was pretty mediocre. 262, 327, 451 slash line. Not blaming that all on the Cardinals, but clearly he was not really finding it. Goes to the Braves, 1,000 OPS in 2020. Okay, that season was weird. Totally loses it again in 2021. But this is the thing with the Braves. They help their guys find it. 2022, disaster. But then in 2023, we see Ozuna find it again. And then 2024 is Babe Ruth right now. So I just think it's just another example. That's a little bit more of a grace period there. You can't peg it as much on them. And there's been a lot of variables in Ozuna's career. But again, there's just so many examples of like, when is it ever going to happen with the Cardinals? When is there ever going to be a guy that was struggling elsewhere, goes to the Cardinals and like finds it and figures it out? That's kind of the thing I'm waiting on. How's Brendan Donovan been, by the way? Not good. Had it, can't help him find it again. Again, baseball is hard. There's going to be times where you lose it. Juan Soto lost it last year. And then he had to find it. He was doing some crazy ass drills and figured it all out. Guys are going to lose it all the time. You got to help them get back. And I feel like with the Cardinals right now, nobody has confidence. But just to tie a bow on the Jordan Walker thing, though, okay. I don't know why they sent him down. I understand that the numbers aren't great, but sending him down a second time, optically, weird. That's why we're talking about it. Mentally, can't be great for him, even though he's got plus makeup and is a brilliant kid and like a brilliant dude. I don't get it, because the underlying numbers are good. The underlying numbers over the last 10 games are even a little bit better. And again, like, you feel as though he is better served to go work on it in AAA than with you at the big league level. It's not like he's getting blown up. If he was striking out 40% of the time, I'd get it. I know he's not hitting the ball as hard as he needs to, but the strikeout rate's gone down a little bit over the last handful of games. He's been a little bit better overall. I just think it's weird to just send him back to AAA to go work on it when you already did that in the past. He came back up and hit well, and now it's gone again. We're just going to keep doing that every time he slumps now? Let's just keep doing it.
You can only do it one more time, and then you got to DFA him.
Yeah.
Over the entire season, he was 16% better than the league average hitter. Did put up a 116 WRC plus last year. It's not like he was a trash man.
It's been 20 games. Over the course of last year, to your point, was an above average hitter. Over the second half, was a well above average hitter. And now in 20 games, we have a short leash on this guy. I think it's disrespectful too, to be honest. I think it totally undermines the improvements he made in the second half. I think it totally undermines the work that he put in to get to where he is. And it totally disregards the fact that you shoved that guy in the outfield. You pushed him up to the big leagues. You rushed him. That's fine. I think he was happy and ready for it. But I just think it is ridiculous considering what he did in the second half last year, how he finished, and the fact that it's been 20 fucking games. The Cardinals don't know what they're doing. They demote Wilson Contreras. They do all of these things and then change their mind a week later. To me, it seems like an impulsive front office, impulsive decision making, and perpetual panic over the last few years.
Far. To be credit, to credit the Cardinals, though, Andrew Kittredge is up to 8 holds. Just saying, about 10 innings. It just keeps holding games.
Silver linings.
Holding games. For the holders appreciators out there, I'm starting to see the community build a little bit, and I think you guys are starting to join it. Holds appreciators. Go ahead, Jack.
I saw AJ Minter hit like a certain milestone in the holds department.
I think I quote tweeted it, but all I saw was holds and AJ Minter. I didn't even look at the graphic. I just said holds appreciators stand up.
Dude, you'd love my fantasy league I'm in now. It's holds and saves.
That's
so you picked up Kittredge. Shout out the Cardinals. I'm just saying he's the only guy who wants it on this entire team. Andrew Kittredge. Put me in there in the 7th. When the Cardinals have a lead in the 7th, that shit's going to the 8th. Now, I can't promise what happens after, but I can promise that 7th inning, spotless. Shout out Andrew Kittredge.
Okay. Hitters of the week. Time for you.
Hitters of the week brought to you by Outlier.bet. Outlier is a sports betting decision assistant for aspiring, intermediate, and advanced sports bettors who understand that data is the foundation of a profitable sports betting strategy. That's why I use it every day, because it pairs hyper-contextual and relevant sports data with available betting markets. And unlike traditional sports data sites like ESPN, Baseball Reference, Outlier organizes and visualizes data for easy comprehension, efficient decision-making, and immediate execution. That's why it's so easy to bring the 5 best hitters of the week, because Outlier does it in one screen. Make sure to check out their first-of-its-kind strike zone heat maps and pitch arsenal roundups that allow you to quickly visualize pitcher and batter matchups all in one screen. Available on iOS desktop and mobile browsers. Get your 7-day trial at outlier.bet/justbaseball. That's outlier.bet/justbaseball, or when you download Outlier, you can just put in the promo code JustBaseball. Highly recommend. 7-day free trial. If you don't like it, just cancel. My guess is you won't, because it's freaking awesome. So, top 5 hitters of the week. Do you guys want to guess again?
Travis d'Arnaud.
Travis d'Arnaud was last week. He was not this week.
I'll
give you a hint.
Kind of harder this week.
How about this? It's one of the guys on my canvases behind me is up there.
Ohtani's killing right now.
Ohtani is destroying baseballs. He comes in at number 4, 295 WRC plus this week, walking at a 24% rate. He's got a couple bobs. He's hitting 420. And remember when I said that Ohtani, when I gave the best hitter in baseball pitch for him? Yeah, he's over Mookie now in WRC plus. He was second, now he's first. He's fast. He's real fast.
He is.
Connor Wong.
Connor Wong did not make it, but another Red Sox was very close. Ryan Refsnyder put up a 285 WRC plus.
Rob Refsnyder, not Ryan.
Rob Gunnar.
Gunnar is not here, but he is 9th, so you were close.
Lindor.
So right now we only have number 4. Go ahead.
Is Lindor back yet, or not enough?
Lindor is 13. So
Damn.
we're getting close here, but not in the 5.
Riley Green.
Riley Green is not here either. He is 16th.
Jeez.
You got to get a little bit higher, Arm.
I know. I'm just a little bit outside here.
I'll give you a hint. One is a Red Sox in the top 5, and it's not Rob Refsnyder.
Red Sox in the top 5. Who's balling out for the Red Sox right now?
Wilyer Abreu.
Wilyer Abreu comes in at number 2.
I love that guy.
He hit 520 this week.
He rakes. He actually rakes.
Actually rakes. Put up a 0.8 F-WAR this week.
Damn.
333 WRC plus, 2 bombs, 7 RBIs, and 5 runs scored. Raking. So you got number 2, which is Wilyer Abreu of the Red Sox, and number 4, Shohei Ohtani of the Dodgers. You still need number 5, who is a Cincinnati Red. You need 3, a Seattle Mariner, and number 1, a Philadelphia Philly.
It's got to be Ellie, right? He's been unconscious.
No, you know who's been killing is Bohm. Bohm had a great week against the White Sox. Is
You
he
just
bum?
got 1 and you just got 5. Ellie De La Cruz comes in, stole 8 bases this week.
Wait, I thought he was
8.
cooked. I thought he's never gonna hit enough, and he's not good, and it's a wrap. We got too hyped up about him. MLB pushes him too hard. I've seen it all. I've seen everybody say that.
Yeah, but then he's stolen third base 8 times this year, and nobody else has more than 3, courtesy of Peyton from Big League Analysis,
That is
who's
crazy.
phenomenal for us. I mean, he's just I have him
He's
on my
awesome.
fantasy team. He's the only reason why I'm not in the complete shitter right now. So Ellie De La Cruz hit 444, 583, 833, 273 WRC plus, 2 bombs, 8 stolen bases. So
How many Ks?
We're looking at a 25% K rate and a
That's great.
25% walk rate.
Woo!
And Alec Boehm comes in at number 1, 3.7% strikeout rate this week. 583, 630, 1,042 slugging team, a 352 WRC plus, 10 RBIs this week from Alec Boehm. So all you're missing is the Seattle Mariner at number 3.
Cal hit a couple out.
Yes, he did. He had 3 bombs, drove in 7. Decently high strikeout rate, but it doesn't really matter when you're slugging 1,000 and hitting 471. That's going to give you a 314 WRC plus. So brought to you by Outlier, the top 5 hitters of the week: Alec Boehm of the Phillies, Wilyer Abreu of the Red Sox, Cal Raleigh of the Seattle Mariners, Shohei Ohtani of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Ellie De La Cruz, Cincinnati Reds. That's an electric 5.
That's a great 5.
Like on pickup, that 5 could win you like a rec league championship. But Cal Raleigh at center, you got some long wings with Ohtani and Cruz, Wilyer Abreu. You just got a lot of length here. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I like the 5.
A lot of length. I can get behind it. All right. Games of the weekend to wrap. Absolute clunkers when it comes to pitching matchups this weekend. There is a series, and I want to ask you for a series prediction. Weekend set in Atlanta. Guardians, Braves. I'll give you the pitching matchups for all 3 of them.
2 best teams in baseball.
Yep. Logan Allen and Chris Sale on Friday. Tanner Bybee and Charlie Morton on Saturday. Ben Lively and Bryce Elder on Sunday. Who wins the series?
Guardians. Guardians win the series because I think they win that Lively Elder start. And then if they get one of those, I think they can get it against Morton. I think they win the series. That's my prediction. It's probably going to be wrong, but I'm sticking to it.
I'm going to go Braves in that one. Dude, Elder's weirdly been throwing kind of well. I'll go Braves.
He only had 1 start, and he was so lucky against the Marlins.
That's what he does.
I
He gets lucky.
I know.
He's
fine. He's fine.
He threw well in AAA. I saw 3 good starts and trips. So I'll go Braves.
I'll go Braves. I agree with you on Elder. I think Elder wins against Lively in that Sunday game. I think Sale shoves against the Guardians. I think Sale
kill lefties. They kill lefties. I think that could be a start where they win. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Sale is a dog, though. So
game of the weekend. I don't want a winner because one offense is better than the other, but I want combined innings pitched and earned runs from the 2 starting pitchers. Friday at 7:10 at Fenway. Shota Imanaga against Cutter Crawford. Cubs Red Sox. Combined innings, combined earned runs. Both are coming in with a sub-1.
I'm going 12 combined innings and 3 combined earned runs.
I'm going 11 combined innings, and I'm going to go 5 earned runs, and 4 of them are Imanaga. Welcome to the big league start. Fly ball is some cheap 0.404, whatever, like low XBA monster, like doubles, basically. I think the fly balls are going to just not go his way in this one. That's just my gut feel.
I don't mind that. That's a good take.
I go 11 combined innings and I go 3 combined earned runs. All right. Phillies Padres 9:40 in San Diego on Friday. Aaron Nola, Joe Musgrove.
Oh, Phillies.
Does Musgrove bounce back?
Musgrove looks broken to me. I'm definitely going to Phillies there.
Ouch.
Yeah, Phillies. Musgrove looks rough right now.
Okay. Missed one Friday afternoon as well. Seth Lugo, Reese Olson in Detroit. Who wins that game?
I keep waiting for Reese Olson to just break out. I still think he has good stuff, but Lugo's just so more proven. I'm going to go with the Royals there.
Yeah, I got Royals. Lugo. And you said Inc America?
Yeah, in America.
Yeah, Lugo is just going to pound the zone there.
Okay. 3:07 on Saturday. Tyler Glasnow against Yusei Kikuchi in Toronto. Dodgers, Blue Jays.
It's a fun one.
That is a fun one.
I think Kikuchi comes back down to earth a little bit.
Okay.
He's been pitching super, super well. See how you do in Dodger Stadium against that offense. Glasnow is, if not the Cy Young front runner, at least in the top 3. Dodgers get it done.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Nats, Marlins. How
Why?
many runs in this game? Saturday at 4:10. Mitchell Parker against Edward Cabrera.
Oh, that could like
That's
3.
sneaky.
no, but I feel like the Nationals, they don't strike out that much, and like a team, I think the Nationals can hit Edward Cabrera. I think the Nationals are going to win that game. By the way,
Nationals win. I think Mitchell Parker shoves. Mitchell Parker goes 8. I'm not even kidding. Marlins can't hit lefties.
No
And
hitter?
Mitchell Parker's good, man.
no hitter.
I might sprinkle.
Tough one. Astros, Rockies in Mexico City on Saturday. Ronel Blanco versus Cal Quantrill. How does that go?
Oh,
Rockies probably win 14-0. No,
Yeah.
16-0.
A lot of runs. Listen, you think Coors is a crazy place to pitch?
That's double Coors, isn't it?
I think so.
yeah.
It's almost triple. I think it's like 7,000.
Yeah, it's literally, it's like
above sea
Coors,
level.
it's
Insane.
Coors cubed. It's,
Insane.
yeah.
The Coors
that's
is like
great.
the Coors is I think 5,000 feet above sea level. 2,000. Anyone know?
I have no idea. I just
Uh,
know it's
Definitely above
mile
sea
high.
level.
40
But I know
Wow.
that. I know that frickin'
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I mean, those games are must see just off the fact that there's gonna be
Yeah.
80 runs. I'm in on
the,
that.
the air
know
is
what that
so
is?
thin it looks like they're using metal bats. That's how
That's
fun
a
it is.
that's a Jose Abreu get right weekend. this is
I mean,
what's
yeah,
happening.
considering that like I can go deep there, you'd hope that's how he gets right.
And if Jose Abreu doesn't get right there, we got a real issue.
We
Yeah.
got an
We
issue.
got a real issue against Rockies pitching in Plague on the Moon. We got an
Yeah.
issue.
All right, Saturday 6:10 in Detroit. Brady Singer against Casey Mize. Both coming in at a sub 3.
Huh. I think
Mize.
I go Mize.
yeah. I'll just be different. I'll go Singer. I think it's really close. I could easily go with Mize. That's going to be a great game.
Hell of a pitching matchup. 8:40 on Saturday night in San Diego. Ranger Suarez against Dylan Cease.
Mm. I think Phillies get that one still. I mean, when Ranger's on, you just can't fade him. He's Greg
I think
Maddux.
Ranger comes down to earth and allows 2 runs.
Yeah.
Dylan
Right.
Cease shoves again.
Okay, I can
Tough
get
one.
behind that.
Tough one.
That's the game. That's
Yeah,
the
that's
game
a
of the
sick
weekend.
game.
That is the game. Shota and Cutter is like the Friday game, but then the Saturday game is Ranger Suarez and Cease. I'm a big fan of that one. And then how many runs? Mexico City, 4:05 on Sunday. Framber Valdez against Austin Gomber. Framber off the IL.
I'm legitimately serious. I'm not exaggerating. 24.
Yeah, I was gonna say 21. Like I think that game is like a 12-11 type game, which would be 23. Yeah, so it's gonna be. I think it's upwards of 20. I bet that total opens like 16, 17 and a half.
Really? Higher
Mhm.
total. What is the higher total? Ronel Blanco and Quantrill or Framber Valdez and Austin Gomber?
I think it's Fromber and Gomber.
Framber
Just
Gomber.
because Fromber's making his return and Ronel Blanco has been great this year. How about Cal being at a 4.33 ERA? Fuck you, haters. Suck it. Dude's back.
How about it? I'm not wearing the merch because I hate the company, Peter.
Arm and I are, obviously, because we believe in this company and we aren't total shitheads. Don't be like Jack McMullen and don't be a shithead and go get your Just Baseball merch. We are fully stocked up.
Got dog bandanas.
Dog
bandanas.
bandanas. At least do us a favor. Even if you don't want to buy anything, go check out the merch store.
Yeah.
Let us know what you like because we want to make more of what you like. And you
Yeah.
can leave it in the YouTube comments. You can DM us, Instagram, whatever. We're all around. Let us know what you think of the merch. And if you would be so kind, it's Friday. Can you leave us a 5-star review? Can you? I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. I know Arm and Jack would as well. And if you hit that big red subscribe button on YouTube, I'll give you a virtual high five. How about that? It's a virtual high five. Thank you, my friends, for subscribing on YouTube. For Jack McMullen, that's Arm Lane, and I am Peter Apple. We will be back on Monday. And with that, thank you, everybody.